Hi everyone, remember how you dreamt of being your own boss? Well, my dream became a nightmare, and here is how I dealt with it and created something beautiful and exciting. There were days when I seriously considered just letting everything go and finding a normal job. But there are some things that actually made me stay and try to work it out. I will share lessons that I learned and things that you can probably consider when looking at your business or maybe to avoid when starting a business. If you felt completely overwhelmed, you're not alone. Many people do, and that's okay. But here we are to learn from the mistakes of others before you make them yourself. Hi, my name is Klim, and I'm a CEO who managed more than 150 people at the same time, created 3 companies and juggled them together, and also created a business that did more than $10 million in revenue. On this channel, we share evidence-based approaches to improve your life, make you thrive, and make your business more exciting. So, the dream versus the reality. What business looks like when you're actually starting a business, when you're in the process of doing the business, and when you actually sorted everything out and it just works by itself. There is a great book, E-Myth Revisited, that basically tells the story of a girl who created a business of a bakery and she was so overwhelmed. That's the same thing that I actually felt when I created my business and everything was not going according to plan. I was trying to do everything by myself. I was constantly out of time. I didn't sleep. I couldn't even find time to eat. All my relationships just broke down, and it's not an over-exaggeration of what happened. It was bad. But what helped me to power through is actually a feeling that I saw in other people who I talked to, with my friends, with colleagues and support group, which I found with other entrepreneurs who helped me understand what I was doing wrong and that there is a way of actually making it working. It's not all bad all the time. But the messy reality is that if you're going into the business, expect not to be a technical worker anymore. If you're a programmer, for example, if you're opening a business and that's not just some fancy startup, which you raise tens of millions of dollars of venture capital, expect to have to do really different things from your normal job. Yes, you can program at the start because probably you don't have a business yet, but once you build the core product, you will have to do taxes, you will have to do accounting, you will have to manage people, you will have to talk to your clients, you have to sell to your clients, and in general, do completely different things. Have 10 of positions, like job positions like product manager, accountant, lawyer, and everything else at the same time. And you can't do anything about it at the start. You have to do it because in the beginning, when you're just starting a business, your business is like a small child and you have to nurture it. You have to give it your full attention, your full time, otherwise it just won't grow. So it's just the reality that when you're starting a business, expect to be without time, expect to be without any want to do it after a while, but you have to power through if you want to grow. But there is actually a way to step-by-step improve it. So let's talk about management. There is a way to create a really nice and thriving business from day one by not approaching it as a startup, but approaching it as a fully fledged company. In a full company, when you have a worker or you hire someone, you already give them a step-by-step guide of doing all their job. What they're doing, what are they supposed to do, when they're supposed to do it, in which way, what are the good things, what are the bad things, how you will judge them, what is the KPI, the key performance indicator, and in general, what you want them to do. If you approach your business from day one like this, you will not have any problems. Because what ends up happening is that you write down everything, you structure everything, and so you make other people who might not be the most skilled ones actually do the job exactly how you want them. Yes, there are some drawbacks, but you can deal with them when you become a medium business. When you're a small business, it will work. You have to get to around $10 million in order to actually go further. And if you're not there, come on, you don't need the high management. You don't need the experienced CEO, CFO, or COO. You don't need that. You just need a step-by-step guide for every worker to know what exactly they're doing, why they're doing it, and what you're expecting of them. I mean, they're getting the salary, right? So you're supposed to consider why you're paying them. The second thing you have to master is to actually master your cash flow. I mean, I talk all the time about P&L and why it's the most important thing. Of course, cash flow is just as important, right? But you have to understand that if you don't have money, nothing will save you. even you have the best system, the best worker, the best product, the best everything, if you don't get the money on time to pay the rent, to pay the workers, to pay everyone, it doesn't matter. What's the most important thing? Of course, having spare cash in a business. Maybe it's actually figuring out where the cash is coming from, on what dates, how much cash can come in, how much cash can come out, and just in general, how much throughput you have. On top of that, what you have to realize is that in the end of the day, all your workers, even you have the best mission, are there for money. So just managing and understanding at least your cash flow is good enough. Even if it's bad, okay? You have been putting out for years to consider your cash flow. Don't you worry. Just put it out on the paper, see where exactly you have a problem, and then deal with it. You can deal with it with cheap loans that banks offer, actually very reasonable ones. You can go to investors that are actually able to invest in your business for a small portion of your business. It can even be something like a future where you pay them back and you have like a 1 year, for example, revenue share or profit share. What important is that you deal with the cash flow, improve your work, and improve and understand where you're going wrong. Because, for example, if you're working on a bad business that cannot grow past a certain amount, or if it has a negative cash flow, for example, right? You're not able to generate money. That's the most important thing you focus on. It doesn't matter how you feel. Yes, you might be burned out. Yes, you might not have great workers, or you can be depressed. But the core reason why that is happening is because your business is not able to function correctly as it is right now. Deal with it first, and then everything else will be so much easier for you. The third thing is actually trying to learn to delegate. I mean, I understand that it can be hard, and there is a potential drawback for you, that whatever you did before, when you delegate, people will do it at 60 to 80% effectiveness. And that is something really hard to understand at first and really difficult to delegate. But the thing is that let's think you're one person. And the only reason your business is not growing, you're stressed, is because you don't have enough time, right? So think about it this way. If your business is profitable and you're doing all the work, you don't have a business, you're just a high-paying worker. And that's okay. If you like that, if you want that, maybe try to get rid of some part of the business and just be a worker. For example, a lawyer who earns $2,000 per hour. That's a great lawyer, a great high-paying worker, but it's not a business really. If, for example, you delegate and you have 5 lawyers who work for you and they're getting paid $2,000 per hour and you're getting paid $500 per hour for their work, that's great, that's a business. So let's do simple maths, right? You have 100% of your time. If, as I said, in the worst case, people do 50% of your work. If you hire 3 people, they will do 150% of what you did. That sounds great if you can afford 3 people doing the same work, right? If you can't, then maybe your main problem isn't managing or small business hell. What is your problem is that your business is not profitable enough, you don't have enough clients, and you don't have enough work for you and for them, for your workers. So in general, learning to delegate is something very important. Like we said in point 1, write down the structure, do everything, it's super easy. But if your business doesn't have a cash flow, if it's not profitable, then maybe dealing with first point and second point first is more important than delegating. So just try to do this. Just try to delegate some parts, maybe hire a freelancer, give them some of the work, maybe hire a personal assistant, give them some of the work and see how it goes. The fourth thing is set boundaries and prioritize. I would say ruthlessly. The reason why it's one of the most important things is that in reality, when we're business owners, we have unlimited time and you can do anything with that time. You can do the technical work, you can manage people, you can dream about the future company, you can go on vacation, you can do anything with your time. And that's beautiful. But at the same time, when we come from a world where in school, in college, in our job, day-to-day jobs, we got told what to do, it's impossible or really, really hard to actually understand what you're supposed to do in the moment. So what I suggest is actually very simple. you try to write down your most biggest priorities right now, and you just write down what exactly is bottlenecking you at every single point. So let's see, your biggest goal right now is getting to $1 million in revenue. What is blocking you? Number of clients, right? For example, maybe profitability, maybe number of employees or bad employees. You write down points. I would say don't make it too complicated. 3 points, 3 goals, and for each goal, 3 points bottlenecking you. And what you're gonna do is every day, when you wake up, when you go to work, when you go to work on your business, not in your business, you tackle 1 point straight away. You sit down and you start working on it. If it's, for example, a bottleneck of having not enough clients, you either create a system, which also is maybe not the best thing, but maybe you actually start calling the clients. You write down the way to call them, to work with them. You check existing clients if there's a problem with retention, and you just start working on the problem. What ends up happening in the business is that because we're so busy, because everything is so hard, we try to postpone everything. We try to procrastinate, and that doesn't help anyone. What ends up happening is you become more stressed, and business just doesn't grow, and everything just gets worse. So instead of that, prioritize, write down your things, and then deal with them. The fifth thing is continuously learn to adapt. I mean, look at the world right now. If you're in the world of trade, e-commerce, any business that deals with real product, you were forced to adapt in April, right? And the most important thing is that it only affected a small part of businesses, but it will happen to anyone. Something can happen that will affect you in a positive or in a bad way. Tariffs, bad for some businesses. Awesome for other businesses. If you didn't already for 1 month act on it, improve on it, get the benefit from it, or maybe fix it, you're already behind other businesses. And if you ever want to grow, if you ever want to get to medium business, you will not be able to get there without actually adapting to current situation. The second part, for example, the Hollywood movie thing, right? With the tariffs on international movies instead of US movies being applied, that's a huge benefit for Hollywood. But how will small businesses in Hollywood, how will small companies that make movies there adapt? We'll see. If you're one of them, you have to act. You have to understand how that benefits you. So it's incredibly important. But at the same time, learning is incredibly important. If you were in newspaper business, right, where you delivered or you print newspapers, of course, if you didn't learn, you couldn't get into the web business because the newspapers, the printed ones, have been down for who knows how many years, 30 years now, and has been just dropping ever since. So if you don't learn new skills like AI, don't learn new things like new businesses, new ventures inside of your business and adapt, you will not get there. So I hope you found these lessons very exciting and helpful. And if you did, watch this video about how to grow your business.